After the fairies sprinkled fairy dust onto the dandelion, the girl was born under the watch of all the fairies. The queen lifted her wings, and she slowly floated into the air. Then came the most important moment of her life, the choosing ceremony. The fairies placed objects representing different professions. The girl first chose a flower representing the garden fairy, but the moment she touched it, the flower instantly wilted. Then she chose the water drop of the water fairy. It seemed she could not become a water fairy either. Even the wind fairy role did not suit her. She showed no interest in the hammer of the tinker fairy, but the hammer seemed to choose her. The girl tried holding the handle, and the hammer instantly shined with a bright light. The light meant this fairy possessed extraordinary talent, and just like that, a remarkable tinker fairy was born. But after seeing her two co-workers, her excitement instantly faded. Fortunately, they were very friendly. On the way back to the tinker department, they ran into the snow fairies, who had just delivered winter to the human world. Then they saw the autumn fairies, who were painting the leaves amber. The summer fairies were playing by the water, because it was still far away from human summer. The busiest ones right now were the spring fairies. All of them were preparing for spring. The animal fairies were dressing the ladybugs in bright colors. When they arrived at the tinker department, the girl could not help admiring the beautiful scenery, but her coworker pushed her head downward, because below was the real tinker workshop. Inside were snails transporting materials, and giant mice pulling carts. Everything felt new and exciting to the girl. Then they brought her to where she would live. The place was clean and beautiful, and the girl quickly made some close friends. But the good days did not last long. A conversation with an arrogant wind fairy completely changed her fate. The wind fairy looked down on her, believing her work was low class, and mocking her for only knowing how to repair things. A few days later, spring was about to arrive, and many fairies were busy preparing. The girl found the queen, wanting to prove she could contribute to spring. The girl invented an acorn shelling machine, but it failed during operation. The pine nut shot toward a giant squirrel instead, and the squirrel nearly cried from the pain. Then she demonstrated a flower sprayer, but the recoil was too strong, and pollen sprayed all over the captain. The queen told her, tinker fairies could not go to the mainland. Creating spring was the job of nature fairies. But the girl refused to give up. She asked her friends to help her switch professions. The water fairy taught her how to hold water drops to make dew, but no matter how hard she tried, she could not do it. This time she directly threw the water droplet, but a spider web accidentally bounced it back. The huge droplet splashed all over her friend, leaving everyone soaked. The light fairy taught her how to light up fireflies with sunlight, but after several attempts, it ended in failure again. The animal fairy taught her how to train baby birds to fly, but the newborn bird became terrified the moment it saw the girl, and immediately tried to crawl back into its egg. The girl hurried to stop it, only to get bitten by the little bird.